Control C. Hello, everybody. My name is Delzar Slit, and today we're doing a reaction video. So, this is, well, to Game Theory's newest video. Well, newest as a recording. Because I have no idea when the fuck this will come out. Probably soon, but probably not. Who knows? Fuck knows. Anyways, this is I Solved the Oldest Pokemon Debate. So, let's get into it.
Absolutely 0 sense. The fearsome Charizard, yeah, it stands at a measly 5'7". That's a couple inches shorter than me. The formidable Lucario, he's just 3'11". It's not even tall enough to get on most.
First off, don't even talk about Pokemon sizing. Isn't there like a whale Pokemon that's able to like still breed with a fucking rat? Isn't that like a thing?
Disney rides. And Furret, you know, the Pokemon that's based on a ferret, is supposedly 6 feet long.
Damn.
Sure, I want that thing.
Yo, Evil, I didn't realize you were that big.
Running up and down my pant leg. Anyway, I think you get the point. The sizes listed in the Pokedex are all over the place. But there's one Pokemon that takes the insanity and turns it up to 11. The float whale Pokemon Wailord. For 2 decades, this guy has sparked fan rage. So much so that it's even spilled into the realm of a full-on academic paper. And all of it stems from one simple question. Is Wailord lighter than air? Seems like a weird thing to be asking about your 47-foot-long whale, right? Wrong. Once you look at the rest of the numbers, you see how this has become one of the most controversial topics in all the Pokeverse. So today we're going to be coming up with a definitive...
Oh, this isn't the oldest Pokemon debate, as in arguing which Pokemon is actually the oldest by genealogy. This is the oldest Pokemon debate by asking the oldest debate about Pokemon. Okay. I feel like I was misled, and I am just, maybe a little bit ditzy and not paying attention enough, but I was confused. Okay.
Answer. Has the internet hit rock bottom, or is everyone else, including this Pokemon, full of hot air? Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, where today we're going back to our roots, applying real-world research to fictional worlds. Break out the pixel class, because today we're overanalyzing the disturbing science of Pokemon. And no, I am not talking about how a tiny Skitty and a giant Wailord are meant to breed.
Yep.
Not touching that one with a 10-foot Alolan Executor. At least not yet. Maybe one day.
No. And no. Matt Pat, you're better than this. Even though you did have a video where you measured Luigi's dick. But you're better than this.
Nope, today I'm talking about the fact that Wailord is light. Like, stupidly light. As I mentioned in the cold open, Wailord's Pokedex entries confused fans since it was first introduced in Gen 3. You see, Wailord's weight is listed at 877.4 pounds, or about 398 kilograms. That's no doubt heavy, one of the heaviest Pokemon in the entire series, but it is comically light when you compare it to your typical whale. Blue whales, the thing that Wailord is based on, usually weighs somewhere between 290 and 330,000 pounds, or between 130 and 150,000 kilos, practically 350 times the weight of your standard Wailord. So these guys are heavy, but not too heavy, you know? However, where things get controversial is when you factor in Wailord's other measurements. Wailord's quote-unquote height is listed at 47 feet, or 14.5 meters. He's massively big for not a lot of weight, prompting many fans online to speculate that Wailord may in fact be the lightest Pokemon in all the games relative to his size. Some have even gone so far as to say that Wailord is so light, he's literally lighter than air. The argument's been so heated, in fact, that it eventually spawned a real research paper from a real university in the UK. And their conclusion? Yep, Wailord is, in fact, lighter than air.
That's actually pretty fucking crazy.
A big old whale balloon. Reddit, though, they weren't buying it, because of course they weren't. It's Reddit. This is a massive post arguing the exact opposite, that no, Wailord is not lighter than air. So today, loyal theorists, we're going to be putting an end to the seismic debate. We're crunching the numbers ourselves.
Matt Pat being a controversial motherfucker as usual, putting his damn hands on the shit that he shouldn't be touching, and I love it.
To see who was right, who was wrong, and who was super nerdy. It was
all of you.
All of us were super
all of
nerdy.
you.
Will Wailord be sailing the 7 seas?
I say you like I'm not interested in this myself.
Day parade balloon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Morty time.
What?
Leave your theories in the comments.
It's Bella.
I'll pick my favorites in the next episode of Morty.
So, how does one go go about proving whether a fictitious whale is able to float through the air? Well, it all comes down to a little scientific principle called density. Density is the measure of how much mass something has per unit of volume. If we have ourselves two cubes of equal volume, one made of lead and the other made of wood, the cube of lead would weigh more and thus be more dense. If I then drop that cube of lead into a fluid that's less dense than it, say water, the cube will sink to the bottom. If I drop the cube of wood into the water, meanwhile, it would float since wood is less dense than water. It's all pretty self-explanatory stuff. It's also pretty darn easy to calculate. All you need to do is divide the mass by the volume and bam, you've got yourself the density.
Are they going to measure
equation,
buoyancy?
D equals M over V, DMV. The one place where dreams go to die. So let's just take
don't
ourselves an
worry.
easy example here to get warmed up. Voltorb. Voltorb is a nice round sphere, so figuring out its volume should be quick. According to the Pokedex, Voltorb has a height of 0.5 meters or 1 foot 8 inches. Its radius is half that, so 0.25 meters. And the formula for the volume of a sphere is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So plug it in our values, you get a volume of 0.065 cubic meters. Now all you need to do to figure out Voltorb's density is take that listed mass of 10.4 kilograms and divide it by the volume that we just got to get a density of 160 kilograms per cubic meter. Comparing that to the density of air, which is 1.293 kilograms per cubic meter, we can see that Voltorb is definitely not floating away on the breeze. But the density of water, it's actually much higher, 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter. So Voltorb would actually float on the water, despite him being a giant metal ball, which means in real life, you'd probably be able to teach your Voltorb how to use surf. That being said, this is all pretty easy math, right? Here's the problem with Wailord, though. Unlike Voltorb, who's a perfectly shaped sphere, Wailord is a blimp-shaped whale, and finding his volume is not as easy of a plug-and-chug solution. So let's just take a look at how both sides of this Pokepuzzle tried to solve the problem. First, there's this paper written by William Farmer, a student at the University of Leicester who wrote an undergraduate research paper in the school's Journal of Interdisciplinary Science Topics. I gotta say, I love the fact that this debate's been going on for so long that the kids who used to argue about it on the playground are now old enough to write their own published research papers about it. Truly, William Farmer, you are a man after my own heart. If you're looking for a job, feel free to apply for Theorist Script.
Bro, that is... I'll be honest with you. There was a time where legit signing up to work under MatPat was legit like a fucking dream, you know? Only reason I don't do that now, purely because I got too much shit that I want to do, and too much things I just gotta go, nah, I can't do it.
Writer. Anyway, he calculated...
Bitch, no, I don't, no.
Wailord's size using pixel measurements in a classic theorist move, and he used a cylinder to estimate Wailord's base shape, claiming that the overestimates here, these empty parts where the cylinder is bigger than the body, those would help account for the parts that stick out like his tail and his fins. The volume of a cylinder amounts to pi r squared h.
Okay,
so
I can see
pi
this.
times the radius of the cylinder multiplied by the cylinder's height. So with a Wailord cylinder height of 14.5 meters and a radius of 2.855 meters, he figured out that Wailord's volume would be around 370 cubic meters, making the density 1.08 kilograms per cubic meter, which is lighter than air at 1.293. So, case closed, right?
No.
See, despite this coming from an academic journal, the paper makes a lot of assumptions about Wailord's shape and volume, and this got Reddit eager for a more precise solution. This post comes from the R Pokemon subreddit by user PetscottMiju, who also used pixel measurements, but this time refined Wailord's estimated shape. Instead of just reducing him down to a simple cylinder, they instead decided to add a hemisphere to each end of the shape. That way they didn't need to explain away as much empty space. They also recognized that pixel measurements tend to be slightly inconsistent across different games, and so they tried to correct for that as well. This led their estimate for Wailord's radius to be smaller, 2.2 meters as opposed to 2.8. Their cylinder length then was 8 meters, leaving about 2.1 meters on each end for the tail.
Seems more
and the
accurate,
head.
so it
total,
makes sense.
This refined equation where they added up the volume of the cylinder and two hemispheres gave them a significantly smaller volume, only 166.24 cubic meters, less than half what the academic paper had proposed. Divide Wailord's mass of 398 kilos by 166, and you get 2.39 kilograms per cubic meter, which is nearly double the density of air and a vastly different conclusion than the academic paper. With numbers like that, your float whale Pokemon here, he ain't floating anywhere. So, which is right? Well, off the bat, the Reddit approach seems to be the more accurate method. While both options are assuming certain parts of Wailord's shape, the Reddit one is taking precautions by doing multiple calculations to account for the nuances of both his shape and the differences in pixel measurements across games.
I don't trust
I
the
gotta
one
say,
who
my
just
friends,
said,
I am on
it's gonna be a
Team Reddit
cylinder.
for this one. But you guys know I'm not going to just leave it there. These
He's
calculations,
not siding
they're
with
perfect.
Reddit.
Between its little grooves, its crevices, and the giant fins and tail, there is no perfect shape to truly describe what a Wailord is. It's not a cylinder shape, it's not an ellipsoid shape, it's just a Wailord shape. This is where our two density debaters get into trouble. But what also complicates things is that the scale of Wailord has never been consistent. Since Wailord is so much larger than just about every other Pokemon in the game, it's always shrunken down, so it can fit within the confines of the system, the battlefield, or the screen. And with Wailord being so large, any amount of estimation error gets exaggerated to become a whale-sized problem.
Did he ever get shown in the anime?
That sort of inconsistency, who knows? It might conclude something insane, like saying Wario is 10 feet tall or some ridiculous like that. As a result, my dearly beloved pixel measurements,
the old
they might not be
videos.
the best tool to give us the most accurate numbers in this instance. So, how do we get the most accurate results and settle this debate once and for all? Well, the wise...
Does anyone else remember the fucking days? Like, not even the days. I remember the fucking day I watched the Mario was a fucking psychopath theory. That was fun. Anyways, just nostalgia hit me. We're gonna like this video, by the way.
Words of Patrick Starr. We have technology. Since the release of both the Reddit post and the research paper, Wailord has made the switch to the Nintendo Switch with Pokemon Sword and Shield. In the Isle of Armor DLC, we finally get to see Wailord in all his blubbery glory, just as Arceus intended, which means that we finally have access to a full 3D model of this Pokemon. No more pixel measurements based on weirdly angled sprites required. This means we can take this new 100% accurate 3D model and import it into a 3D modeling program like Blender. While this program is typically used for creating 3D models, it also allows you to do things like measure the volume of your...
Oh yeah, by the way, Blender is fucking awesome. And the second I saw a 3D model, I was like, Blender? Oh yeah, this is easy. This is raps. You can measure this shit.
Or in this case, Game Freak's creations. Therefore, as long as we have the proper scaling figured out, we can use Blender's built-in tools to get the exact volume of a Wailord. No estimates required, including the tails and fins. Now, up to this point, everyone's been using Wailord's Pokedex height to measure his length, which sounds confusing, but this is actually a common quirk amongst the Pokedex. Sometimes it means vertical height, but other times, especially when you're talking about long Pokemon like Wailord, it means length. But just to make sure that we didn't get the math wrong, I wanted to be extra careful. So I took a look at every depiction of Wailord that we've ever been given, like the size comparison tool from Generation 4, or the player character standing next to Wailord in Sword and Shield. Given that the trainers in the series are usually around 5 foot 4 inches, there's no way that Wailord's 47-foot height in the Pokedex could refer to anything other than his length. So now it's settled, I was able to make sure that our Blender whale was scaled correctly. And by creating a mesh for him, we can use Blender's volume calculator to tell us that Wailord has a volume of 182.8557 cubic meters precisely. No estimates, no assumptions, that is the exact number. From there, all we have to do is divide Wailord's 398 kilograms by his volume to get a definitive density. Drum roll, please.
God.
Really? That's the best we got? Gotta admit, I
What?
don't know what
It's
we
a
gotta
drum
do.
and it's
I'm
rolling.
perturbed by the lack of a solid drum roll, Yossi.
Yossi, I love you. Because everything that you just did right there was beautiful. And at the same time, I think you need to take whatever trash can you just fucking assaulted, drag it upstairs drag it upstairs, and I need you to Sparta kick it down the stairs again. Because that sounds like a fucking metal trash can, and I love it. Do it again.
Fix it, man. Pull out all the expenses next time. I want a drum roll that will melt minds. Promise? Yossi, I put you in the shaving episode, so you better promise me. Thank you.
I volunteered.
Oh yeah, his true density. Wailord's true density is 2.18 kilograms per cubic meter, which means that I can now say without a shadow of a doubt that Wailord is not lighter than air. Even if you don't include Wailord's tail in the overall calculation, it still wouldn't be enough to get him airborne. And honestly, all this checks out. Wailord being lighter than air would have broken the other information that the Pokedex tells us about him. Wailord's Pokedex entries going all the way back to Sapphire tell us that Wailord can knock out prey by the shock of its splash, which, you know, is gonna be pretty hard to do when you're so light you can't even hit the water. So there you have it, my friends. The debate is finally squashed. Wailord is not lighter than air. Reddit was right. Not completely, obviously, but their conclusion
always a
was
but
pretty
with these
darn
videos.
close for an estimate. I guess we'll just have to leave floating off to the sky to Team Rocket.
Is there actually no butt today? Shit.
And now with that one out of the way, tune in next time when we calculate how the density of Cosmoem would end the known universe.
I
But
mean,
hey,
isn't that like a
while the
whole
Pokédex
galaxy
is a
within
great tool
small
for trainers
area?
like you to keep track of the heights and weights of every Pokemon, maybe it should also have something to help trainers keep track of the most important thing, their finances. As we've said time and time again, being a Pokemon master ain't cheap.
Yeah, pay them bills.
Fortunately, today's sponsor SoFi is able to help you avoid
Another
that
good
terrible
video.
fate. SoFi is the all-in-one personal finance app that helps you bank, borrow, and invest all at the same time. Tired of logging into multiple different accounts? Well, now you can just link them all in the SoFi app. Even if you have accounts that aren't with SoFi, you can still link them to the app so you get a bird's eye view.
Again, by the way, I'm just gonna say it now. I'm not gonna watch the entire fucking ad here. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the description of this video, and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Okay, it's gonna.
Dopamine hit get even stronger by offering rewards points every time your credit score goes up. So now it's even more rewarding.
Anyways, yeah, no, I'll put the link in the description so that people can see it. But I'm gonna get the fuck out of here and bye.